Hey you guys, hey, we're on one of northern Utah's blue ribbon trout streams, and I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about ice. And there's so many different kinds of ice, you guys, from pack ice to skim ice to glacier ice to surface ice. And one of the bad things that a lot of folks don't realize is how the ice impacts the fisheries. And so you can see where this ice here, I would call it pack ice. It's pretty much plugged the river up. But the worst type of ice that you can find, you guys, that really hurts the fishery, and let me tell you a little something about this fishery. This is one of the last places in the world that you can catch a species of fish called the Bonneville cutthroat trout. And there's about 1,200 fish per mile on this river. So there's the worst kind of ice that you can possibly have for a fishery is called hook ice. And if you guys can see that ice underneath the surface, that is actually called hook ice. And it's all over through the river, and it's forming all over through this whole system. And hook ice will only form, you guys, when you're looking at about 20, 30 below zero. And hook ice is a unique ice. It doesn't form from the top down like your other ices do. It forms from the bottom up. And so one thing that is so terrible about hook ice, let's go over here. I've already been in once up to my knees, but I'll kind of show you guys this hook ice. Now, if you can see, I don't know if you guys can see this, but see that rock right there, and you can see the hook ice is forming on it. So what happens is at 20, 30, 40 below zero, it will actually start to freeze underneath the ground. And in shallow trout streams like this, it will freeze underneath the ground, and then it will start to freeze upwards. And so what you have to think about, guys, is you've got 1,200 Bonneville cutthroat trout per square mile in here, and the surface ice and skim ice and stuff like I'm standing on right here, it doesn't impact the fish at all. Actually, trout do better in cold water than warm water. But what really affects the fish and what could kill a ton of fish is this hook ice. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's starting to form. I should have picked a little better spot. But what that does, you guys, is it will freeze all the aquatics underneath those rocks, like all your bugs, your crustaceans, your pupas, all your nymphs. Everything will be frozen. And so what it does is it takes the food supply away from your trout. So in all actuality, they could be up here starving to death. And one interesting thing that a lot of people don't think about is you always think that fish only make a run when it's spawning season. Like, say the salmon will make the run out of the ocean, they'll run up the rivers to spawn, or your big fish in the lakes will make a run out of the rivers up the creeks to spawn. Well, there's actually another time fish will run, and it's this time of year when this hook ice starts to form, and it cuts off their food supply. And you can see some more forming right there, guys. I'm not sure if you can see it, but what they'll do is your smarter fish that have the instinct to know to actually get out of dodge while the getting's good before they run out of food, they will actually start traveling down river, and they'll find deeper holes that are, say, 5, 6, 7, 8 feet deep, where the hook ice is not going to have an opportunity to grab hold of the bottom. And so it's interesting how the ice, you wouldn't think it would hurt a fishery, but it could totally wipe the fish right out of a fishery. And whoops, I just went over my, whoops, I'm walking through, just for you guys, for Facebook, I'm soaking wet, about 10 below zero. But anyway, I want to show you some more of this hook ice down here. And another thing that you don't think about, guys, is, and you can see all the hook ice in here and see how it's really starting to form. But what you really don't think about is, say you've got hook ice on the bottom and then you've got this surface ice or skim ice on the top. So if we have another, say, 2 weeks of freezing cold weather, and this hook ice rises off the bottom and comes up, and then you've got this surface ice right here, well, it could actually strand your fish to the point where they could actually freeze right in the ice, because they can't go anywhere. So just some interesting stuff for you guys about hook ice. I wish I had my waders on. I'd get out here and flip over one of these rocks, and now you can see all that hook ice forming on that rock. That rock's about 8 inches underwater, but yet around that rock and on the bottom there's actually ice that's starting to form coming up. But again, it takes about 20 or 30 below zero to do that. But you don't think how amazing Mother Nature is to install the instincts of these fish to not only run when it's a spawning season, but also when to run when they're actually running out of food and they're facing starvation. And so hook ice is really not a good thing to see. It wouldn't impact a big river, you guys. Like if this river was 5-6 feet deep, you wouldn't see any hook ice. But where this river, is maybe a foot and a half deep right here, and it has 20-30 below zero temperatures in this canyon, then that's when your hook ice is going to start to form. So anyway, guys, I'm in a beautiful, beautiful place up here on a blue ribbon trout stream. The fish have left, you guys. They're smart. I've been looking and threw a few casts in some of these little runs and holes, and most of your fish are gone, and they have traveled downstream into what are called wintering holes, and that's where those fish will hold up. And one other thing you don't think about, guys, with the cutthroat trout are always spring spawners. So your cutthroat trout are always going to be starting to spawn about mid-April through May. And one thing that these fish really count on is they need to be able to feed heavily before they go on their spawn, because when they make the run up this river, they need to have some body fat and they need to have some energy so that they can produce valuable eggs and sperm. And so on really, really cold winters like we're seeing this year in northern Utah, it could impact the cutthroat fishery tremendously, not only from fish starving to death, but also fish that are not viable when they come up to lay their eggs and spawn, because they don't have the protein and the nutrients in their bodies to have healthy eggs and healthy sperm to carry on their future generation. So anyway, you guys, just a little food for thought, and I'm going to try some lower holes down the canyon a ways, but I want to show you how beautiful it is up here in Logan Canyon, and tell you a little bit about the Bonneville cutthroat trout. There's very few places where you can catch a Bonneville cutthroat trout anywhere in the world anymore, and the Logan River here is probably one of your best opportunities to still be able to catch them. And they get a few of them in the Bear River system, and they have really good numbers of them in Bear Lake. And some of the cutthroat trout, guys, in Bear Lake will get upwards of 19 pounds. That, I believe, is the Idaho state record for the Bonneville cutthroat trout. So they get huge. And even here in this little teeny tiny creek, you guys, a lot of times you'll catch cutthroat trout that are over 20 inches. And so it's a tremendous, tremendous fishery, wonderful dry fly fishery. One of my favorite rivers in the whole world to dry fly fish in the summertime. All kinds of aquatic hatches here. It's just an absolutely wonderful river. Easy to wade, tons of fish, beautiful country. And anyway, you guys have a super awesome day, and I just wanted to show you this beautiful blue ribbon trout stream of northern Utah. And all right, you guys, send you a great big huge smile here from the Logan River up Logan Canyon in Logan, Utah. Anyway, have a great day, you guys. Send you a great big smile here from the river. See you guys. Bye.